my content is very unfiltered, my content is very unique, and I've had a lot of people like these days for the past 1 or 2 months, I would say, people have been texting me and saying that your content is so unique, I feel like reading it, and you're probably the Andrew Tate to all the new immigrants out there. So obviously, like when I'm reaching out to a hiring manager or a recruiting manager too, you know what I'll say? Like, you know what I used to say? Can I probably grab 15 minutes of your time? But you know what? People don't want to give you 15 minutes.
Nobody has 15 minutes.
I started changing in a way that, you know what? When you'll probably get up from your desk and go and try to take a cup of coffee, you might have 90 seconds. Can you just give me those seconds, please? And they'll be like, whoa, this guy is good. Okay, probably I can refer this guy.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the All of You podcast, the podcast where we sit down with all of you. And today, I am extending the olive branch to somebody that I have been admiring from afar in the LinkedIn landscape, Rahul Ande. Welcome to the All of You podcast. How are you doing, Rahul?
Well, I'm doing fantastic, I would say. I mean, I really appreciate you having me over here.
Are you kidding? Absolutely.
Yeah, we have been speaking for, I guess, for the past 1 month, I feel, like on LinkedIn, like we started connecting on LinkedIn. And
yeah, I feel like I've been following you much longer than that because I remember when your message came through, I was like, whoa, why is this guy messaging me?
Yeah.
Because I've always just, again, been a silent admirer from afar. And one way or another, I'm not exactly sure how you fell into my sort of immediate realm on LinkedIn, but you know, as I am starting to navigate these waters, I'm coming across people that are really inspiring. And when you sent me the message, I was like, oh my goodness, I have to sit down with this guy. So why I thought it was so important for us to sit down and do this podcast episode is because I think you are a wealth of knowledge for young professionals. You've clearly done very well for yourself, and you continue to do very well for yourself. And I think it's really important that we celebrate the successes of young professionals who have achieved great things. And maybe you can give a little bit of your tips and tricks and wisdom to the
That's
audience.
What I'm here
so
for.
Maybe we'll kick things off if you can just give our listeners a little bit of a rundown of why Canada, first of all. Whenever I sit down with an internationally trained professional, the first thing out of my mouth is like, why Canada? And what has been your journey since coming here? And then we'll get into like the quick and dirty of it. But yeah, give a high level overview of why Canada, when, how, all of those good things.
Whoa, so that would be a very long podcast.
We have time.
Basically, back in 2019, like I'm not sure if everyone knows, I was not into sales as soon as I graduated. So I'm a mechanical engineer graduate back in India. I graduated in 2019, and I had like 2 options in front of me. Like one was to probably like I'll give figures that the audience will understand. So one job was paying me like $1,000 a month back in India, which was a core mechanical job, and the other job, which was in sales, that was paying me $2,000 a month. I was like, okay, the money is good, so why not go into sales? And I was doing sales back in India before, like small retail sales. Then I was like, okay, I might as well just try. And in 2019, as soon as I graduated, I went into sales. I started with B2C. Then I started with retail sales, and then I started with B2B North American companies.
I'm going to pause for a second because not everybody will know, because I didn't know what B2B and B2C meant up until like a year ago. So can you explain, what does that mean, B2B and B2C?
Well, B2C is basically you have to deal with a customer in order to get revenue for the business that you're working for, like for the company. So B2B is you have to deal with a business to business. So I was dealing with a business. So the business people will give me the money, like which will eventually go to the company. So my end user is not the customer. My end user is the business, and their end user would be the customer.
Which do you prefer, B2C or B2B?
B2B is good money.
Yeah,
so, yeah, B2B,
okay,
B2B.
Interesting. That's good to know.
So yeah, I moved to B2B, and after that, I started working for a North American company back in India, and I was working in Eastern time zones. It was a remote role. I was working for New York. Like there was a company that was based in
this during COVID?
Right before COVID, like I would say 6 months prior to COVID.
Okay.
And obviously the the industry that I was working in was in e-commerce. So e-commerce was still there. Even though it was COVID, e-commerce was there, healthcare was working, and then
Just the beginning of e-commerce. I feel like it's
e-commerce.
exploded so much in the last...
Later, but then everyone was ordering, right? Let's say that if I want to buy a t-shirt or anything, everyone would place an order through Amazon or
You're
through
right.
anything.
Yeah.
So I started working in that. But then I realized, I guess if I'm good at working in the North American culture, why not come here and work there? So I was feeling like I was in the boxing ring, but I was not in there. I was just outside of the boxing ring and seeing other fighters sparring. And I was like, I can be there, but why am I not
What
there?
a good analogy.
So then I decided that, okay, cool, let's aim for Canada, because US was obviously out of my budget. US was a lot.
From
And
tuition perspective, you
Yeah.
mean? How much different?
I would say probably like $20,000 of difference. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's substantial.
And then I decided, okay, so for me to get into Canada, I had to come up with a degree or to pursue a degree which is close to my mechanical engineering back in India, not close to sales. So then I decided to go with supply chain management, because supply chain management was booming back then, because we obviously understand how COVID hit and how supply chain was still surviving, not the other companies were. Then I did my course in supply chain management in 2022.
What
maybe in
program was that the name of the program? Supply chain management?
Supply chain management. So I did my post-graduation in supply chain management.
Nice.
And yeah, after that, I started working in B2B again. Like I never left the side.
It felt like your sort of groove. That's where you feel the most reward in terms of career satisfaction, is that sales B2B sort of thing. That's what drives
I would say
you.
yes, because when I did my post-graduation too, I was working with a company, Capstone. Like there was a Capstone project that I was working, and that company was like offering me a job, a supply chain coordinator job. And that was the job to begin with. I'm like, okay, this might be something I would be interested in. But I gave it a thought, I gave it a month or so. And then I was like, nah, I'm not made for this, because I'm not that guy who would be like a 9 to 5 job and at 5 o'clock I'll log out.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
I need wins every single day. I need rejections every single day. I need something that makes me get up every single day in the morning and like, okay, I'm ready to conquer the day now.
Yeah.
And that's how I was like, okay, cool. I'm not leaving the side of sales, and I'll still start pursuing for sales. And then I started getting into companies, and that's when open text picture came in.
Yeah. I resonate with that deeply, because throughout my career, I've worked traditional Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 jobs. And I think, and we talked about this when we went for coffee, I think for me, when I get stuck into the routine of something, it very quickly loses its appeal, because I'm like doing the same thing day after day, having the same conversations, banging your head against the wall, trying to solve these problems. But the second that I get into that routine, I want to get out of the routine. But then when you're not in the routine, that, I guess, uncertainty of what every day looks like is a driving force for you, right? And so I've only really been doing that for the last year and a half with sort of a non-traditional schedule. And I can tell you, I don't think I can ever go back to a regular 9 to 5 now that I've done it differently. There's just something about having the freedom in the middle of a Tuesday to like go and work out of coffee culture for the afternoon, or I don't know. I'm definitely on the same page as you in terms of that flexibility with schedule.
It drives you in a way that every day you're doing something new. It's not like you're doing the same exact things that you're doing every single day.
Yeah.
And a good part about sales is I never like to give the satisfaction of breaking me to someone else. It's only me who can break myself. So if, let's say that if I'm hearing 99 no's, the 100th yes is going to make my day. Right. So people feel that, oh, this guy is not patient and this guy is like wants to sell. They don't know that you are my 49th customer that I'm calling today, but still with the same enthusiastic energy.
Yeah.
And then I'm booking a meeting with a CIO or a CTO, and then he's like, I initiate these discussions in my company. So I feel sometimes good to initiate these conversations too, but then you're learning something new, because you are not only dealing with an oil and gas manufacturing industry, you're dealing with petrochemical, you're dealing with all the other industries out there. So I got a variety of knowledge, and that's what it's keeping me going now.
What would you say are some of the top skills that you have needed, or the top skills that you've been trying to develop in yourself in order to be good at your job?
I would say Emailing.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm good
My
at emailing.
least favorite thing on the planet. Oh my God, I hate. But why emailing?
Emailing is that one thing that would get you into that person's phone. That is the one thing. Now, let's say that if I'm calling you right now, you're not going to pick up my call because that's an unknown number. But if I'm emailing you right now, you're definitely going to read that email.
Yeah.
So that email sets the tone that, does Shannon really want to chat with Rahul?
Put that time in the schedule.
Exactly.
And yeah.
So my emails start in a very quirky way. So it's like, we might go to that story soon too, wherein my emails never start with, "Hi Shannon, I hope you're doing well."
Oh, yeah.
I'm never going to start with that email. And the reason why I got a job in OpenText is also because of my quirky email that I sent to my hiring managers and to a lot of directors in OpenText too, which led me to the recruiter. So my email started with a very quirky subject line: never too late to start something new, comma, with the person's name. Let's say the person's name is Shannon. Never too late to start something new, Shannon. My first line of the email body was like, "Yes, you heard that right. Wanna roll the dice."
Cute.
That's how
I love that. I love that. I love that.
So email sets yourself a tone. Okay, this guy is something good. Okay, let me have a chat with him. And that's where you start initiating.
Yeah, that's so good. And even the message that you sent me on LinkedIn, and I can't remember exactly, but it was something like, "You must have more than 24 hours in the day, because I don't know anybody that can do, all of the things that you're doing." And that's such sound advice. Anybody out there listening to this, please, whenever you're reaching out to someone, try to connect with them in a human way. Like, don't, for the love of all things holy, do not copy and paste messages directly from ChatGPT and just fire off the same generic scripted message to every single person you reach out to, right? Would that be like bottom line, period? Like,
and I've been in this space for so long that I can easily identify, is this a ChatGPT message?
Oh, 100%.
Has this person has really put in effort? So I always feel that whatever you want to say in 10 sentences, why not say it in 5?
Yeah.
Because let's say that you are driving right now and you stopped and you want to check your email. You don't want to scroll the email, right? You don't want that email also to be long. So whenever I'm sending an email to a CIO or a CTO, my email body is not more than a one phone screen. So you don't have to scroll my email too. So it should not be more than 125, 150 words. So,
I agree with you on that fully.
And same goes with LinkedIn Note as well. So why have they put 300 characters? Because it should make sense as to what you're sending to that person, because that first few lines is going to make that person to respond back to you, or that person is going to read that email and then probably do an unread to that email, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Because I get to know that so many people are reaching out to us every single day.
Yeah.
But then we know that, oh, this is the person that actually put in efforts.
It's so weird, right? Like when I get messages, as we get messages, I don't know, every week it's different in terms of the volume of messages that I get. But there's something in me that when I read a message that seems too scripted, I'm like, I can't respond to that. I want to talk to somebody who's a person who has character and who seems interesting and intriguing, not just like I'm on the list of people that you thought to reach out to and send the same old message to. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you want that person to probably invest in 15, 20 minutes to draft that message, not 5 minutes copy paste. And I hope this email finds you well with your extensive experience in this field. I want to chat with everyone is going to send that.
Everybody sends that, right? So first rule, I guess, that we could say is make your efforts at communication as personal and quirky. I love that word. Tap into that human touch, I guess, in your extension of the olive branch to whoever it is that you're trying to reach out to. Okay, the next thing
one small thing I might need to add here.
Yeah.
So back during my time with the other company that I was working with, North American company, we created a framework. So
I love a good framework.
So that framework is based on 5 parameters, which is TOYP.
Okay.
S for story, TR for trust, IV is immense value, and E is end context. What's the story? Why that person is going to trust you, build that trusting character in it. What's the value that you are going to provide to that person, and what's the end context of that email?
Brilliant.
Break it into 4 parameters, then you're done.
Yeah.
That person is going to respond to you now.
100%.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's really powerful. The other thing I was thinking about is, so because we have the power of AI at our fingertips, and because it makes so much of that communication easier, not that it's quality it's necessarily, it makes it so that you can produce those generic messages and copy and paste them and, you know, create infographics and stuff that you put on LinkedIn. But just as much as I crave that authenticity in the messages that I receive, I also want to see that authenticity in the posts in my feed. And so talk to me a little bit about how you feel. Like, do you feel the ick the way that I do when I see somebody posting something on LinkedIn that's just totally AI?
Totally, yeah.
It's cringy. That's not a word I like to use, but it is. It's like, do you have a unique thought at all that you can't produce your own content for your post? And you do a really good, you have a really good approach to keeping your content authentic, I think. So can you talk to me a bit about that?
I mean, I've seen a lot of content that has been posting on LinkedIn lately that they're this huge. They're trying to explain the same 5 things, that follow these 5 things at the professional life, follow these 3 things. Like, it's all AI. It's all AI generated. Like, you have been copying and pasting the content. Talk to me about your negatives. Talk to me about your, oh, you didn't do this. How did you overcome it? And now what's that been helping you?
Yeah.
So whenever I'm posting content on LinkedIn, it's very unfiltered. Like, let's say that last week I posted a content like, I just got into a new role and I got my first renewal. So my responsibility as a customer success manager is to retain customers and to keep that business for 2 or 3 years. Just to lock in the business so that the customer is not going away. And I got a 2-year contract with them, like, as soon as I started. Like, it was my 4th week.
Nice.
And then I was like, whoa. So, and then before that, I posted a content wherein I took a customer call, but it didn't go as planned. And I would rate myself like 5 out of 10. I was ready, but then the questions that the customer were throwing at me, I was not ready at all. So I sat down, work on it. So my content is very unfiltered. My content is very unique. And I've had a lot of people, like these days for the past 1 or 2 months, I would say, people have been texting me and saying that your content is so unique. I feel like reading it. And you're probably the Andrew Tate to all the new immigrants out there. This was one of the comments that people made to me. And I was like, wow, okay.
Wow. Yeah, no, that, I think people are craving that authenticity in communication, especially on a platform like LinkedIn, where I get it. It's supposed to be like celebrating our career successes, but I don't know about you, but so much of our career success is built on the foundation of struggles and the challenges that you've had to overcome and the barriers that you face and the hopelessness or the frustration or the, you know, what the hell am I doing sort of feeling in the pit of your stomach when you can't get a job or you can't get an interview. So I've also, I suppose, been really leaning into the truth of what it actually is like to be lost and starting over and, you know, trying to figure it out in the professional landscape. And I think for the most part, the response that I've been getting is very positive, especially from other young people who are feeling
the same thing,
right? I did, however, have somebody recently say, you can't be vulnerable because people are going to see that and it's not going to help. Like, don't show your vulnerability. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. I feel that in 2025, that authenticity and that human touch and showing the real sort of good and bad, ugly, sad, whatever. Like, I think it's so important to tap into that.
And because when we are talking to someone or when we are talking to someone on LinkedIn or anywhere too, you should feel like you're talking to a human.
Yeah.
And if that human is not coming strong enough or in a way that you're connecting to that person, then it doesn't make any sense. You're not going to continue that chat. So you need someone to know, okay, this is where I went wrong, but this is where I improved it and this is where I am right now. So during my interviews too, like, it was not easy for me to crack an interview with SAP too. I told them, like, I was not good at a few things and I worked on it. And here I am today.
Yeah.
Like,
what were those things? Do you remember back to what you had identified as your areas for growth and opportunity?
One feedback that my managers gave me during my time was, I'm not a good listener.
Oh.
Not a good listener.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes I struggle. Continue.
And I was like, okay, but I was doing the job. But then you can't sell what you want to sell. You have to know what the customers want to be sold at.
You have to meet them where they are.
Yeah. And I was not getting it during my presentations, and not during my presentation, but during my customer calls too. And it happened like thrice with the company that I was working with. And I was, a lot of sales directors in my present company were also reaching out to me for the roles, but I was not able to crack them. It was like I was in a role, and then my cross-functional managers are reaching out to me that they want me in their team, but then I'm not able to crack the role. So something is wrong with me.
Right. That's your immediate default. It's my fault. I'm the problem. Yeah.
So if I'm able to get to there, wherein a lot of times opportunities don't come and knock. Opportunities were knocking at me, and I was like doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then I started working on it. I started learning more about the solution because I was good at selling. I was not good at understanding the product. If you ask me to sell you probably a phone right now, which you're not using, I can sell you the phone better, but I don't know the specifications of the phone. I'll sell you on a whole different level. That's what I'm good at. But the job that I was getting into, I needed to know about the product, because that was not like I was selling out of the blue. I was actually selling.
Yeah.
And then I learned about the product and learned about all the specifications, and I got feedback from all the managers. And you know what? That feedback helped me get a job into other company.
Of course it did. Hold on one second. Shrag, can you look on the couch there and grab me a pen? I want to do something with you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I saw this one time, just any old pen. I saw this one time, and I think this would be an interesting exercise. So I don't remember where. So it was 100 years ago, but I remember. Which pen is more appealing to you?
I think I'll go with the pink one.
The pink one?
Yeah.
So in a minute or less, sell me this pen.
So, okay, I might have to prep my mind.
Yeah, prep your mind. I'll give you 30 seconds. All right, so sell me this pen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So have you heard of this pen before?
No.
No? Oh, I haven't too. It's just a new pen for me. But anyway, we were on a call today to understand a few tips and tricks about a few things that you want to work on in your professional life. And I'll start giving you the tips and tricks. So do you have something to write on?
I don't. Do you have something I could use? Oh my God, that's too good.
So it's like,
how much does it cost? Are you giving it to me
like
for
$10
free?
bucks. Yeah. So because obviously if I'm telling you something, you want it to be written, right?
And you're making it an experience.
Yeah. So it's demand.
Yeah.
And then I'm selling you the pen.
Yeah.
Like there is a demand for the pen, and then I'm selling you the pen.
You identified a need.
As
well. You identified a need and a way to bridge a gap, which is important.
And then I met you where you are, because when you told me that I want to have a few tips and tricks from you, as to where I want to focus on a few things.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to write that down, right?
Uh-huh.
So
and I think also too, you could lean in because it's a pink pen, and it feels good, and you're because you could, I suppose, segue into even more of the experience.
Yeah.
You should get a piece of paper and feel how smooth it is. I think it's very something as simple as a pen can be so much more in terms of the psychology of sales. So can you talk to me a little bit about that? Do you feel like now that you've been working in sales for so long and that you have, communication with so many people, is there a psychology part to
involved
understanding that sales dynamic?
I'll tell you something. People never buy from the companies. People buy from the people from those companies.
Yeah.
Because if I want to buy a product from you, you need to be that strong enough to come onto a call and sell me that product. The company CEO is not coming onto the call to sell me the product. The company CEO has already done the job.
Yeah.
But I need to be buying from you. So how are you going to make that visible?
Yeah.
That is very important. So that plays a psychological mind, wherein if I'm talking to you about something which is very specific, at the same time, I need to be trusting that person too. Is this person going to solve my company's issues? If yes, probably then yes, we could consider going ahead with this company.
Yeah. Talk to me about personal brand. Do you think personal brand has anything to do with people trusting you and wanting to buy a product from you?
Absolutely, yes.
What do you think?
Absolutely. And you know what? This personal branding is going to go very, very, very long way in the next generations to come.
Oh, I think so.
I'm really, really very because you might know a lot of things are happening on Instagram, a lot of things are happening on LinkedIn, and people want to buy from those people who have done something in their life. They don't want to buy from a person who has done nothing. And personal branding is that one thing which probably puts you out in a way that, now I'm not able to find those words, but probably puts you out in a way that this person is bringing something unique to the table. He's not like an ordinary person out there. So it's like there are 10 people out there, and what different are you bringing to the table? So you need to be that one person to bring something different. He's working on his personal branding. He's working on his Instagram journey. He's working on his LinkedIn journey. Apart from that, he's also working in customer success. He's worked with 2 top companies out there. So this person has something that is bringing to the table. So that's what personal
There
branding
needs to be a dynamic there needs to be something dynamic about you. And I think as young people, it's very hard for us, well, at least for me, and maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I feel like we have a very hard time talking positively about ourselves because we're in our heads about what we're not good at. And I think it takes reprogramming of your brain to be able to talk about what makes you special, what makes you unique, what makes you quirky, why somebody would want to work with you.
Exactly. Yes.
And I think that anybody who's out there who's listening, you should be able to talk positively about yourself for at least 3 minutes.
Exactly, yes.
You should be able to talk about all of your achievements, what you are proud of, what you identify as something you're working on, what your goals are. Like, to be able to talk confidently about yourself and be able to, maintain that ability and that back and forth rapport with somebody, that is what I think sets young professionals apart, is your ability to talk positively about yourself.
I was just listening to a podcast that day, and it told me, it was Alex Hormoz's podcast.
Oh, I love him.
So he was telling me that you need to find your flow. People can never be you.
No.
You have to be yourself in such a way that it's easier for you to get things done. You're getting up in the morning, you're doing your workout, coming back, checking all those emails, logging in work, then you are giving a head start to the work, getting the work done, then going and doing all the things later in the day, then enjoying your weekends, and then working on your grind. So people can copy you, but people can never be you, because what you have been doing, you have been entered into a flow wherein you find things very easily. You could do those things very easily. So people sometimes ask me too, like the way that you have been doing things too, you have been working with 4 colleges, and then you're handling 2 companies, and then you're doing so many things apart from what you have been doing. And I'm like, that's your flow. No one can copy you, because you know how you have get things done, and you know what struggles you went through it too. So it's like, always keep going in life, I would say. I mean, you need to find your flow.
You have to find your flow, go with the flow, absolutely. And I think it's not always obvious what your flow is. Like, it's trial and error. Process of elimination. Like, you try something, if it works, great, continue to do it. If it doesn't work, take what works and leave what doesn't, I suppose. So what, I guess, again, some tips and tricks for the listeners, what are some things that help you maintain your flow? Like, what are some of the strategies that you have that help you keep your Monday to Sunday kind of a well-oiled machine?
Well, I like to have few phases in my life, wherein one of the phases wherein I enjoy my weekends, wherein I'm going for concerts, when I'm going for parties. Like, I'm a big techno fan, but then I limit that when I have to focus on something which is very important. So I would say that discipline is that one thing that really keeps me going. So no matter what time I'm sleeping at night, I'll get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'll get my workout done, check my emails, and that's what I'll do. So I would say getting into a flow of working out, then doing my daily grind of the day, then working on some of my LinkedIn content. And then every Saturday, like you already know, that I sit out of a coffee shop.
I love that.
And then I work from there. So all the content you guys must be seeing that's put out there, it's from the coffee culture. those coffees really keep me going. And
shout out coffee culture.
You need to keep doing something in life, right? I mean, you can't just go through life like having a 9 to 5. You need to have those struggles. You need to have someone to tell you that you're not made for this. I'm sure that people are there in our life who are probably going to tell you that you're not made for this. Why are you doing it? So you have to prove them wrong, So that's what I keep on going for.
Yeah, I think that. Are you a morning person? Well, it sounds like you're a morning person. Yeah, because no matter what, you wake up at 6 a.m. Me too. I'm way brighter and way more clear. And I feel like the earlier I wake up, the less distractions there are online. Like people aren't texting you and whatever at 5 in the morning. So for the longest time, I would wake up at 5 and do like the bulk of my whatever editing or marking or whatever in those wee hours of the morning.
I can probably see from the house that we are in right now. So creative, so creative.
Yeah, some people might find this environment a little bit chaotic, but it's just all creativity. And anyway, I just find that I'm the brightest and most efficient in the morning too. All right. Yeah, I think that So I think that the comment that you made about the younger generation and personal branding being so important, or that it's going to kind of be a foundation to younger people's professional development, it's interesting for us to see how that is being incorporated into the LinkedIn landscape. Like, have you heard that like LinkedIn is exploding and that LinkedIn is, the platform of whatever. So in terms of your suggestions to maybe somebody who's just trying to find their way on LinkedIn, like I wouldn't say that I know what I'm doing 90% of the time. I'm not as good as you as, batching content, and I want to get there. But do you have any recommendations for people who are listening in terms of how, if you're just starting out or you're just trying to figure out your brand or your approach, like do you have any suggestions for how somebody can start from the beginning? I
mean, the content that you are going to start putting out there, no one's going to like it. So throw anything that you want to throw on LinkedIn, but that should be something relevant to professional life. Not obviously, you can't be very personal. Or very
You're not going to put your techno rave parties on LinkedIn.
You can't do that. And I started with that back in April, and then, like I told you, a lot of people were criticizing me. What are you putting out there? Like why?
And were these people that you knew, like in your immediate social circle? Interesting.
And those are the same people now asking me for a job
coming back being like, what? Oh my goodness, you're doing such good content. That's really funny. I heard a quote that was like, your biggest admirer, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something like, your biggest admirers will be the people that are the furthest away from you, because it's almost like the people that are directly connected to you, they don't see you in that light. So when you're trying to step outside of the version of you that they know, it feels uncomfortable for them. Yeah. It's not a you thing, it's a them thing. You know what I mean?
In order for you to excel in life, I would say that always keep yourself in a loop of where you want to go in life. So, you know what they say, right? You are the average of 5 people you spend your time with.
Yeah.
So I make sure that I do this exercise with every other person that I'm meeting, or someone wants to take a career advice from me. I'm like, go to your phone right now and show me your call logs as to who are the 5 people that you're talking every single day.
Yeah.
You know where they are? At this level, you would be at the exact same level as them.
Yeah.
You want to check my call logs? Check my call logs.
Birds of a feather,
you will know, like, let's say that someone... See, I'm not trying to compare friends, but I'm trying to say that if you want to get something done out of your life, you need to probably step out of the comfort zone. You can't stay there. You can't. If you want to stay there, like probably for a few hours of the day, but all the working hours of the day, make sure that you're putting yourself out there, learning from people. Like, let's say that I met you on Saturday. I didn't sit on the couch and then like watching TV, right? I met you, I learned about you, and that's how we are connecting or meeting today.
Yeah.
Because you found value in me, I found value in you.
Yeah.
The same ways people are going to find value in you when you are going to go and meet people out there.
Yeah.
That's when people are going to start trusting you. That's where people are going to invest their time in you.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
It's that growth mindset versus the fixed mindset.
Yeah.
I think that people can get stuck in that fixed mindset, and then they think, well, my life's not changing and my circumstances aren't changing. But stop and ask yourself, like, are you doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? Because if you're doing the same thing and you're not seeing any sort of positive trajectory or improvement, you probably need to change your approach.
Exactly, yes.
You probably need to reevaluate your whatever it is you're doing. So sometimes, if I have young people come to me and they'll say, whatever, I'm looking for a job. It's like, what have you already done?
Yeah.
What have you already done? And if you say I've applied to 700 jobs on Indeed, like that's amateur hour. Like you haven't done anything if all you've done is sit and apply to 700 jobs on Indeed.
You're not doing anything strategically, because when I started applying, like I want to make sure that I'm giving examples which I have been through. So I always tell people that whenever someone is reaching out to me, I'm not the best person to give advice. I'll give advice in a way that has helped me to be where I am today. You can probably go and talk to anyone else too, whom you might think that they could probably give you better advice. So that's why I give my examples. So back in April 2023, when I graduated from Humber College, I started, like I was working with a company, like a North American company. And then when I got to know that the company that I was working for will not help me to get a PR here in Canada, because it was a company based in North America. I had to be working in a company that is based in Canada. I started applying. I was applying to 20 jobs a day. So in a month, like probably if I'm considering 5 business days, so it's like 400 jobs a month.
Whoa. Wow, I'm not trying hard enough.
And I'll tell you one thing. It didn't take me anywhere.
Really?
Because I was just applying.
Good point.
I was not doing anything strategically. So May, I started doing that. June, I hit my lowest depression. I was like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Nothing is working out. July is when I started strategizing my work. Okay, there are these 50 companies. I'm connected with these and these people. Or these people are already connected, like my first degree and second degree connections. How about they give me an LinkedIn introduction or an email introduction? I don't want them to refer me. I just want them to put in a word for me. Rest is my thing to do. So obviously, like when I'm reaching out to a hiring manager or a recruiting manager too, you know what I'll say? Like, you know what I used to say? Can I probably grab 15 minutes of your time? But you know what? People don't want to give you 15 minutes.
Nobody has 15 minutes.
I started changing in a way that, you know what? When you'll probably get up from your desk and go and try to take a cup of coffee, you might have 90 seconds. Can you just give me those seconds, please? People were like, okay, cool.
And then 90 seconds turns into 15 minutes.
And 19 seconds was my elevator pitch to them. And they'll be like, whoa, this guy is good. Okay, probably I can refer this guy.
Yeah.
That's how people started referring me in companies. And that's when I got into open text.
This is what I'm saying. You need to be able to talk about yourself for a minimum of 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Practice. Like practice in the mirror. Practice in front of your cat. Practice with your grandma on the phone. Like practice talking about yourself. Practice talking about what you're interested in. Practice talking about what makes you interesting. Because otherwise you just fall in a sea of competition and a sea of people who are all doing things the same way.
Same way. And the same thing wherein when I got into that role of, applied for company strategically, I lined up 17 interviews.
Wow.
6 of them I went to the final stage. I got offer letters from 3 companies, including the company before this that I'm working with. And obviously the company that I was working with was paying me a lot more than I went with that company. But you know what helped me? So while giving my 17 interviews, I got to know that I'm going into the interview round, but I'm not going to the final stage. Something is wrong with me again.
Yeah.
So I started prepping answers. So what I used to do, so the suit or the outfit that I'm going to wear tomorrow, I used to wear the next day, the prior day. And I used to start giving answers, like go on Google Meet, connect with yourself, look into the camera, and then start blabbering answers.
That's good advice, actually.
Use your hand gestures, because then when your mind knows that you have already been doing that, the next day your mind is not going to make you nervous.
Because you've already done it.
You've already done it.
Yeah.
So your mind, let's say that I want to go for a cycling, you probably practice it a month before, and then you go for cycling, and then you win in that cycling tournament. Yeah. The same thing with interviews too. Practice it before and then go for the interviews. Yeah. Then you'll get this job like this.
Yeah, and it's so easy to, I mean, I am a big AI fan. I use it every day. I talk to ChatGPT like my therapist, for crying out loud. So I just wanted to kind of loop back to our comment about how anything that's overproduced with AI isn't great, but we should be using AI as a tool. So I don't know what your approach is with using AI, but I know for me, for interview prep, an approach that I might take is take the job description, post the job description in ChatGPT and say, I'm preparing for an interview for this role. Could you create 10 interview questions that align with this job? And, that I can kind of walk through those questions that ChatGPT creates, because it might not be the exact questions that they ask you in the interview, but at least you've had those 10 questions to kind of get your brain thinking about the role and how you would respond. I think it's also very important, just again, for anybody listening, it's also very important that you bring examples of how you've been able to apply it. Yeah, because they always ask circumstantial or situational questions where you need to pull an example of your previous experience, right?
I might want to add something here too.
Yeah.
It's a very simple math. Now, a lot of people are going to relate to this, and this is like a very, very important trick of my life. So let's say that let's consider a company. You're the hiring manager. You are the actual manager. I'm the recruiting manager. When there is an opening in your team, you know what you're going to go? You're going to come to the HR and you're going to say that, hey, Rahul, these are the 10 things that I want you to look for a candidate out there that have these 10 skills. Even if 7 of the skills satisfy, send them to me. So the recruiting manager is going to go in the market, talk to various people, and then make sure that these 7 skills are getting satisfied, and then he'll put you in touch with you. Now, how to make sure that I know these 10 skills, like I as a person or the candidate out there know these 10 skills. You might have 10 people reporting to you. Now the person is going to respond, is going to start chatting with all those 10 people. And then when he'll get to know what my manager wants or what are my day-to-day responsibilities, he'll start getting a few points from that conversations. Maybe 15 minutes I'm connecting with every candidate, every person who's reporting to Shannon. I'll get all those points. When the interviewer or when the recruiting manager is going to call, I'm going to see all those points in the call.
I was speaking to so-and-so. I was speaking to so-and-so. I don't care what anybody says. Name dropping is totally going to help you too. Like if not in a excessive way, but you could, casually say that you went for coffee with someone and then they'll think, oh, wow, like you
I know
took
that person,
the effort to, okay, yeah.
To
and
probably
then
learn.
I think it goes back to your sort of original thought was like creating that rapport with someone, the storytelling and the ability to connect with someone personally, even though it's just like, oh yeah, I know our contact through blah, blah, blah. They're like, okay, you're somebody that I can trust because you know somebody else that's within my professional network. I think that's a really powerful approach too.
People would want to talk to you. So there is this movie called Focus, if anyone has not watched it. It's Will Smith's movie.
Oh, okay.
So in that movie, he places a bet on a guy wherein he asks that guy, I might not be saying in a very deep way, but he asked that guy, which is that one number that you want to select from 1 to 100, and I'll guess the number that's on your mind. And Will Smith plays a game here. You know what he'll do is, from the time that guy will wake up and go to that particular stadium where he's placing the bet with that guy, so he tried showing a number 55 to that guy in various forms throughout the day.
Subliminally?
Yeah, okay. 55. And that person, when he was asked to give a number of any number, he gave 55. Same thing happens with interviews too.
Yeah.
You have to meet the hiring manager at a psychological level, what that person thinks. So there was a quote by a manager on their LinkedIn banner about Albert Einstein. I always believe in hard work, not in the results. I used that exact same template in my presentation while I was interviewing for that company.
Yeah.
And that struck with that hiring manager. This person is the exact same person that I want. He's like, he's really like me. Okay, cool, I'll take this person. And I was hired the very next minute.
And you did a really cool thing during one of your interviews too. What was that thing you did?
Oh yeah. So one of my managers, like I was interviewing for, she's a great fan of David Goggins. I'm sure you've heard of David Goggins. And she had read a book, Can't Hurt Me, back in 2019. So you know what? I'm a great fan of David Goggins too. So I copied that content, like the email during that email. I crafted an email, which is like, I scheduled that email. So my interview started at 11 o'clock in the morning, 11 to 11:45. It was a 45-minute interview. After the first 15 minutes, I scheduled an email already to be sent at 11:15. And then as soon as 11:15 was like the time came up, I'm like, hey, would you guys mind checking your emails? I've just sent an email to you guys and want to see like how it would make sense for me to see. And I sold them the company that I was working for before even getting into that company. So I showed them like, this is what I'll be doing while I'm working in your team. And my emails set the stone in such a way that both of the people in the interview told me that one person said that you scare me in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And the other person was like, how soon can you join? I was like, oh, I got this.
I mean, it sounds so simple. Scheduling an email to be sent during your interview
Interviews.
and then drawing their attention to the email during the interview and showing your worth and your creativity and your innovation, or just thinking outside of the box during the interview.
Yeah.
That's like gold.
And also one advice that I would like to give people out there, though the people who are not able to break the ice during the interviews, I would suggest just send a 30-second interview, like a
Clip of yourself?
before your interview.
Yeah.
So that they know that this person is already trying to break the ice with me.
I've been thinking about doing that, I've been thinking like the jobs that I apply for that I really, really want. I've been thinking about doing like a 30, not that I can talk for 30 seconds. I always talk way longer than 30 seconds, but doing a little clip, posting it to LinkedIn and being like, hey, company that I've applied for, I've just applied to this job. And anybody in my network, if you've ever worked for me and you think I would be good for this job, can you comment on this and tag them in the post so that they'll pay attention to me and hire me?
That's such a nice
That
thing to
might
do.
be my approach in the next month, because it's coming down to the wire.
Oh, wow. You gave her your tips and tricks now.
Oh, don't copy me. Copyright, trademark. No. I believe that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So if anybody wants to copy me, I take that as a compliment.
Yeah. I mean,
but no, you're doing a lot of things right. You're doing and it's just amazing to me. I'm not going to give away your age, but you're much younger than I am. And I just remember walking away from our coffee a couple Saturdays ago thinking like, I'm so far behind in life. I feel like I need Rahul to mentor me. So in terms of, because like I'm in the middle of I don't know how I even describe it anymore. It's like a career transition that it's a good thing. Change is good. Everybody needs change. But because I'm so interested in technology and it's not my original sort of field of study or practice, but because I'm so fascinated by that intersectionality between IT and healthcare, and obviously storytelling and learning all of the technology and, that goes into podcasting. And I know that there are a lot of people in healthcare and education right now that are displaced or burnt out or miserable in the field or trying to think outside of the box in terms of how they can take their existing skills and turn it into something new. Do you have any recommendations for people out there who are like in the middle of a career transition, how you could use technology or how you could use LinkedIn or how you could use to create a name for yourself?
I mean, all you can start doing out there is finding your niche.
Your niche and your network, I think.
Now, let's say that you are into healthcare and I'm into tech. So if you want to probably get into tech healthcare, you probably want to get in touch with companies who are involved in healthcare but doing the selling part. Yeah. So I have been in touch with a few companies too, wherein let's say that there is someone gets into a dialysis. So there is a machine that's for thousands of dollars out there.
Yes.
So healthcare, the machines are getting sold, and there is a contractual thing happening too, like wherein you can be as a strategy consultant, or you can be somewhere wherein that person is going to trust because you are coming from that background, but also you're doing the selling part.
Smart.
So you need to make sure that you have to finalize, or you need to strategize those companies and start hitting those right people who are going to believe in you because you are already coming from that background. You just need to do the selling part.
Yeah,
So
and going back to our comment earlier, just about you selling me this pen and the experience of it, I think with that intersectionality, if you as a healthcare professional understand what it's like to use this technology or use this piece of equipment in the actual practice of delivering care to people, I think that would help the software developers or the equipment developers to create a better product. For the patient and the staff experience.
Exactly, yes. Because you have been there, you have done that, and you know how to get it done effectively.
Yeah, or you use this equipment and you're like, man, I wish this equipment did this, or why does this equipment do this? Being able to give that lived experience, I think, is something that I'm, trying. So funny. I feel like such a hypocrite because for so many years I was like, your transferable skills, guys, come on. What are your transferable skills? And now I'm like, frig, what are my transferable skills? How could I apply these transferable skills?
But you know what, Shannon, you don't have to be, it's good that you're being hard on yourself, that you're trying to get out of this and trying to get into something very soon too. But you haven't stopped the grind. You have been doing so many things too, like for this podcast. You might have sat on a sofa this morning and then thought about it, but no, you're not doing that. You're doing all these things in order to get to your next role. So it's like you're not just sitting around and just bluffing or just talking for the sake of talking. You're going through it. You're experiencing it while you're grinding.
Yeah.
So you're just, I sometimes feel like Shannon is like, okay, she's talking about this and this things, but I'm so proud of her already because she's doing so many other things. And I really, really have so much of respect for her and the company that probably will be working, like you'll be working for the company soon. They should be like very much privileged to have you as well. So that's really
that imposter syndrome, man, like I'm learning, this is something that I'm learning, by the way, is taking compliments. Like it's so hard for me. I literally feel like at any moment people are going to realize that I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm just going to get canceled and like everything is going to, vaporize. But I think that because I'm being so transparent and real, nothing about what I'm putting out on the internet is phony. Like everything that I'm putting out is coming from a place of genuine, authenticity. And I just think that young people are especially craving that from people that they see in positions of power, which is so weird for me. So weird for me that people see me in an authority stance. And so when I hear people say like, oh, a group of students at Fanshawe, they're like, you have a fan club at Fanshawe. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, people talk about you all the time. What? Like, wow. Very weird. But I guess when you've taught, keep in mind, like every 4 months for the last 7 years, I've had a new batch of 200 to 500 students come through classrooms with me. And so now whether I'm connected to those people on LinkedIn or not, it's that degree of separation.
Yeah. The chain of connections.
The chain of connections. And I'll say another thing, anybody out there listening, and you can probably attest to this, you never know who is watching.
Yeah.
You never know who is paying attention to your content. You never know who's going to see something that you post and think, man, I want to meet with that person, or wow, whatever they're doing is resonating with me. You really just never know.
And you have to just keep doing what you're doing, no matter what people say.
And don't care about what people say. I saw something on Instagram the other day. It was like, if you suffer from imposter syndrome, sit down and write down a list of all of the people that you are afraid of judging you, and then block all of those people.
I mute all those people, I don't see their content. You feel free to see my content and get jealous.
Yeah. Don't distract yourself with the opinions of others, because that's just going to create a block for you, and it's going to prevent you from putting out the most authentic version of yourself, because you're worrying about these people that are whatever. Like, who cares about what the person you went to high school with thinks about you for posting, some content online? Who friggin' cares at the end of the day?
He might be sitting on a sofa doing nothing and just trying to criticize you.
Yeah, because they feel bad about themselves.
And at the same time, you are doing this podcast, doing something, learning something, grinding every single day.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't have to let that small thought ruin your day.
Yeah.
You know what you're made of. And these all things, they're like peanuts. Doesn't matter to me.
It is. What do you think about the idea that life is just a game and that you need to just show up to life? And I'm a big, I believe in energy and manifestation and positive affirmations. Do you have any sort of ideas around that kind of thing?
I believe in manifestation a lot.
Yeah.
I visualize myself. So I still remember when I was working with a company, I was in Waterloo, sitting in a basement. Like I was living in a very small room here in Canada in a basement. And I had this 5-10 things in mind Out of these 7 things I already completed.
Wow.
So
And that's been since how long?
That's been like 1.5 years.
Wow.
So I'm a big fan of suits. So when Harvey Specter goes out and probably drinking his coffee in the New York balcony, he's having this view, right? So I wanted that feeling. So that's why I bought an apartment. And I'm like, okay, I have the same feeling right now from the view of my house, one.
So
Second,
good.
I wanted to get a car, but not a sedan, because someone in my life, like who was very close to me back before, they told me that get an SUV, don't get a sedan. I got an SUV. So now I'm working with a company. And to be very honest, I know that people are gonna find this childish, but while giving my interview, you know what I imagined? That once I get this job, I'm going to dance while getting down from the bus stop to going to open tech. So let's say that I never had a car. I just bought a car like a month ago. Before that,
Congratulations.
yeah. Before that, I used to go by bus to the office. So whenever I used to get down from the bus, it was a 12-minute walk to my seat, like where I was sitting. So I was listening to a song by Eric Pritz, and it's a name called Opus, Nopus. And I imagine myself signing the offer letter of the new company and then grooving and dancing on that song while going to the office.
Yeah.
And that thing really happened
I love it.
after a month.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. So I'm a very, 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 very big fan of manifestation.
Yeah.
But it's not only about manifestation, you have to put in the effort.
And you have to believe whatever it is that you're trying. Like if you just say, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30, it's like, what are you doing
now
to bring that about? Do you know what I mean? I mean, some people get weird about talking about money, but I don't care. I'm going to just talk about it. I remember vividly when I was 28 years old, I was making about $80,000 a year at 28.
Whoa, okay. That was good.
Well, it gets better. So at 28, I said, I want to be making 6 figures by the time I'm 30. And
Wow, okay.
wouldn't you know it, but the year that I turned 30 was the first year that I wound up on the Sunshine List.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, I mean, it's not about money. It's for the longest time, I was chasing a number on a screen, I think. I was chasing, I don't know. I think there's also like a trauma response that I have just around money and that kind of thing. But I can tell you, I don't think that if I had put it out there like, oh, I'm going to make 6 figures by 20, I don't think that if I hadn't every single day been thinking,
about it.
Your goal is this, how are you going to make this happen? And one of the ways that I made that happen was by job hopping. And we've talked about this.
Yeah.
So, and maybe you can kind of give your insight into, do you think that job hopping is beneficial to a young person, or do you think that it hinders your professional development?
I mean, at a certain point it is, at a certain point it isn't. Because let's say that if you're working in a particular role, instead of job hopping, how about try to get to a different role in the same company too. Try to connect with those folks that you think that your interest lies there now. So let's say that someone out there is a sales development representative. There are various options, like you can go into field marketing team, you can go into solutions consulting team, you can go into account executive team. So find your niche within that company. So let's say that as a sales development representative, you just book meetings, but you don't close the meetings. Closing is done by account executive and solutions consultant. But how does that meeting come into place in the first picture? Once the marketing team puts out the marketing content out there, then it comes as a lead, and then you work on a lead as an SDR.
Yeah.
So now you need to be working in all those different sectors in order to see, okay, what's your comfort zone? Where do you think that you can sustain for a longer time? Then you go and do that thing.
Yeah.
But you can't stay in the same role and then being in that same role for 1.5 to 2 years, and then you're just booking meetings, and that's it. You've lost the touch.
Exactly.
Same thing happened with me, wherein I was initiating discussions with enterprise companies whose annual revenue is more than $1 billion with my company. And I was just doing the same thing again and again. But I was not learning, because if I decide that today I want to book a meeting with a enterprise company out there with a C-suite executive, I used to do it. So it was like, it became my comfort zone. But then I used to lose the touch after the initial touch point. getting that initial touch is very important in order to break doors between companies.
But the
Maintenance is important. And I was not able to do that because my role prohibited me to do that. I was like, I want that role, which is going to help me build on this. And here I am today working with a new company.
Yeah. I was just thinking as I was listening to you talk that you're very good at communication. And because I know so many people who are going to be listening to this episode maybe have insecurities around their ability to effectively communicate. And you mentioned that you listened to Alex, that podcast. And I also, it's all I consume is podcasts and audiobooks and stuff. Do you feel that your ability to communicate is representative of the content that you consume?
Yeah. I tell that to every single person in my life out there too. So when a few people reach out to me and say that, hey, have you watched this series? Have you watched that series? I don't want to watch that series because I don't want that content to go into my mind.
I know. I don't even have a TV.
Yeah, you have a projector.
I have a projector, but I have to be very intentional about setting up the projector and intentional to put the stupid show on. It's not as easy as just plopping in front of the TV and putting the TV on. Do you know what I mean?
Nah.
So I created a barrier to entry to the TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've started doing that with Instagram lately. So because I'm into a new role, so Monday to Friday, I'm not using my Instagram at all.
Good for you.
So I'm uninstalling Instagram on Friday, 4 o'clock. Like as soon as I log out, I install my Instagram. Sunday at 12 o'clock at night, I uninstall my Instagram.
Wow.
So then I know that I don't have IG on my phone. Then I can't go into IG.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah, that is very addictive.
Oof.
And to tell you about the content that I pursue too. So I only watch that content which is going to help me in my life. I don't want to watch a cruel content out there which is going to probably make me do that things later in life, because then you know that you have watched it.
Yeah.
So I only fill my mind with positive thoughts, with positive energies out there.
Yeah.
And I try to replicate the same way in my life too, because that's how I am built. I'm not like the content, like let's say there's a negative content out there, but the cinematography is good. Okay, I'll watch that.
Yeah.
But then I need to be watching something positive again, because I don't want that negative thoughts to be roaming in my mind.
Yeah.
Let's say that I'm watching a Hollywood or a Bollywood movie on Saturday. On Sunday, I might move to my series of Suits again, and then I'll watch one of the episodes of Suits, and then I'll start with my Monday. So that's how my life goes.
I also find too, depending on the content that you listen to or the content that you consume, if it's educational or informative, then you can integrate those things into your conversation, which makes you a more interesting person. So I guess that would be another piece of advice is you are the people that you align yourself with and the content that you consume.
Exactly, yes. I keep telling that same thing.
And it helps you to communicate effectively when you're listening to other professionals communicate with each other.
Yeah.
You can trick your brain into emulating and displaying those same characteristics.
I still remember, like during my time with the company, I told a person to follow this 5 podcast. So there's this guy, can I take the names?
Yeah, of course.
So Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory, Jay Shetty, Andrew Huberman. Then we have Alex Hormozy and we have Chris Williamson. Like these are the 5.
You didn't include Stephen Bartlett?
Stephen Bartlett as well.
Diary of a CEO?
I started this back in 22, like when all these things happened. But these are the 5 people that are constantly kept myself into.
Same.
So these people started coming into my day-to-day life. Let's say that there's one of the guy named Simon Sinek.
Oh, so he's my crush, my celebrity crush.
He said that people buy from the people from those companies, not from the company. So that's the same dialogue that I used during the start of the interview that we are having right now. So you say, like, what you listen is what you say is what you become. So one of these dialogues by Conor McGregor, who is a UFC athlete, so he keeps saying that. So he keeps saying things so that he'll get it done. So all these things are very important as to what are the things that you're feeding your brain and what are the things you're doing throughout the day, which are helping you to get to that point where you want to go.
Yeah.
That is very important.
I'm so nerdy. There's a podcast, I can't remember what the name of it is, but one of the hosts, her name is Mayim.
Mel Robbins?
No, I like Mel Robbins too, but it's Mayim. I can't remember. She was a celebrity star, Blossom. Anyway, her and her partner, they have this podcast, and they sit down with like quantum physicists and it's very, very nerdy. It's very, very science based. So if you're not into that kind of thing, it probably would go over your head. But recently they had on a quantum physicist who was talking about like our collective consciousness and how society is advancing and that our ability to connect, as community and that things are just shifting in terms of our ability or our desire or our need to want to be a part of a community. Can you talk to me a little bit about what community means to you and why it's so important to have your people in your corner?
Community in the sense like...
not like the neighborhood you live in, but like your crew, your people, you know what I mean? Like the people that...
On the personal life or on the personal side or on the professional side?
Both, I think, is important.
I guess if on the professional side, if I have to say like there's 5 people, like I keep saying that you're the average of 5 people you spend your time with.
Yeah.
So you need to constantly be in that loop of people putting out content out there and then engaging with that content, inculcating that content into your mind is also very important. But on the personal side, I have a very few people that I am with. Like I might have to say that if you go into my chats, there are only 5 personal contacts that I have.
Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity. Yeah, that is very important.
Yeah. And being connected with your people is so important. Like human beings are social creatures. Whether I identify as an introvert, maybe like ambiverted, but the people that you align yourself with, let's just say, for example, like your friend is maybe a fixed mindset and not a growth mindset, and they like to consume pop culture content and they just pay attention to the drama and the real lives of what is it called? Real Housewives of something. Like,
yeah.
I think that I'm not suggesting that you have to stop being friends with those people, but I think that you should limit the amount of time that you spend with those people so that you can continue to resonate on the same wavelength as the people that you want to become or that you as a collective group are striving to be.
And there are a few people, like one of the closest friends that I have in my life, like he recently had a baby and she turned 1 year old. So we were just sitting that day and we were chatting, like it was just a boy's talk. And then he was like telling me like he has planned to buy a house. He's going to do this and this, and then probably give that daughter a better lifestyle that she deserves. Like he's an immigrant too. He came to Canada. He's a PR now. But I really like to be around those people who have certain milestones set in life, not for themselves, but for the people around them.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the second step where I want to get into, wherein if I'm doing things right now, I've got everything that I want to have right now in my present life. But my parents didn't. My mom and my dad never even flew on a flight.
Whoa.
And I was like, if they could afford me to send to Canada and then I'm making a name out of myself, why not they need to enjoy a life that I'm living right now?
That's a big inspiration for internationally trained professionals. When you come here and it's not just you, it's like your family is riding on this.
Yeah.
And there's...
They need to experience this, what you're going through. I mean, not the struggles part, obviously. You are only supposed to go through the struggles.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
But the good part, like summers are coming now. I'm working on my family's visas. Like I'm getting the super visas done. And probably like I'm going to make them fly this June.
Wow.
Is what I'm thinking. But that's why I got this condo too, wherein they would come.
They have a place to stay and see your life. Yeah, that's really awesome.
Always keep yourself out there. Like I was watching this podcast by this Steve guy. So he was like, once you start experiencing first class, you would never go back to economy class, because then you know the value of first class. Now, when I moved to a bigger apartment, like I was staying in a basement, then I moved to a bigger apartment. I know that I can't go to a basement again, but if I want to keep sustaining at this, I need to be making more money. How I can make more money? Okay, I need to switch.
Yeah.
That's how the switch happened.
That's perfect. All right. I think we're going to take a little break and then we're going to come back for our segments that we do on the All of You podcast. So we'll be back in a flash. See you in a second. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for that quick little break. Now would probably be a good time for me to remind you to like and share and subscribe and comment and do all of those good things that help the algorithm. We are a teeny tiny little indie micro podcast that's just trying to get ourselves out there. And, the more our audience engages with the content, the better it is. So it's free to engage in the content. So please do so. All right, Rahul. On the All of You podcast, we do something called talking points, and there are 3 themes: generations, resilience, and support. Support resonates with you? Or which one would you like?
I think support.
Support? Yeah. All right, perfect. So there are...
Oh, there are cue cards?
Well, yeah, they're question cards.
Wow.
I don't know where the legend is, but I'm just going to tell you if I can find it. Anyways, the cards got mixed up. I had a bunch of kids here a while ago, and they mixed up all the cards. Okay, so of these colors, which color is your favorite? Red, yellow, green, blue, or purple?
Yellow.
Yellow? Oof, nobody ever says yellow.
The lighter one, I feel.
Okay, I've picked a yellow, and you can see the yellow bar on the top there. Can you just grab one card out of the yellow section? Perfect. Yeah, just like that. See? Yeah, you can look at it. Do you want me to ask you first, or do you want to ask me first?
Oh, you can ask me first.
Okay, I haven't looked at mine yet. Ooh. What stressed you out today?
What stress?
What stressed you out today? Like, was there anything that stressed you out today?
Oh, yeah, my work, I would say.
What are your work? Do you have a specific like routine that you follow, or how did it stress you out?
So, yeah, I follow a specific routine, but I want to be very honest that I can't remember things.
Oh.
I can't. Yeah, I suck at it.
Bad memory.
Yeah. So, if you come to my desk at the moment, like at my work desk, I have so many sticky notes sticking around, so many, that I can't remember things. So it takes time for me to understand a particular thing too. So I'm not a fast learner. So back in India, I was a mug-up king. So I used to mug up so many things. And right now, mugging up is not helping me.
Oh.
Yeah. Because, then they say that, like, my father used to tell me that, you are mugging up right now, but you know, right, this is not going to help you in the future. I'm like, Dad, the other day I was talking to my dad and I was like, Dad, the Pythagoras theorem that you were talking about during my school, I never had to use it now.
Pythagorean theorem? Oh my gosh.
Never. So it was good to mug up back then. But right now, I'm a bit slacking to understand things. So it takes time for me, like after my working hours to get to that stage. But my managers and my directors are so supportive. They're like, Rahul, you don't have to work after working hours. But then I am doing it for myself in order to understand things at my pace, because I know that my pace is a bit low. So yeah, this is the one thing that is stressing me, and I'm not able to focus on my personal life. I guess it's okay then.
It's hard to balance personal and professional life.
It's hard.
I don't know if this is too personal of a question, but do you date? Are you dating? Do you have a relationship?
No. I'm not seeing anyone. I used to.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's changed for you?
That's a difficult
You don't have to get into the nitty gritty of it, but do you find balancing relationship and professional life to be difficult?
I think no. It is easy because you have someone to take care of, I would say. So at the end of the day, once I'm done with the calls, I used to be talking to that girl, and she used to be like, I used to be a good listener is what she was saying to me. And because the entire day I'm talking, selling, doing all these things. But at the end of the day, I want someone to talk, and I want to just sit there and listen. I don't want to talk about my work to anyone. It's only me who's going to deal with my work. But a few like back in India, like we had to take care of family things, astrology too, and we had to part ways. But she is one of the best things that has ever happened to me, because whatever I am today is because of her. The other day I sent her an email too, because we don't chat anywhere else, right? I sent her an email that I'm so grateful for the time we shared. Probably we have to turn the book, but you are the most beautiful chapter I ever had. And she's the reason why I'm able to achieve so many things in life, because she was the one to push me to come to Canada.
Yeah.
And I would say because of her. But you have someone, right, in your life to take care of, and you know that you're going to be in a family soon. You're going to take care of the kids and everyone, right? So you have that settlement, like I want to get settled ASAP. So you need to have those things.
I think it's really important too that the person that you choose to be your partner, like that's the most important person ever. The person that you choose to be your life partner in things, like They need to be your cheerleader.
Yeah.
They need to be your safe place. They need to be your sounding board. And it can be very, very hard when you're a high achiever and when you have kind of rigid ways of wanting to operate and goals that you want to achieve. It can sometimes be hard to find a partner that understands that drive or whatever it is.
And then motivates you to do things that you are capable of. Because at times I feel that our capability is, we don't understand our capability as much as someone in a friend circle does. I've seen that a lot. So she used to understand me in such a way that, you know what, you have been telling me that you're not able to do that. But as far as I've known you, you will get it done. And in the very next few days, I used to get it done because someone had belief in me. And then I was doing that thing, right? So that is very important too in life. But it should not be stressful, I feel. Because if it's stressful...
our relationship or your partner, it should be effortless.
Yeah.
It should be easy.
Easy going. And
yeah, I know. I'm still navigating that. I'd never ever thought that I was going to be in a situation where I would be single again. But a huge reason why my long-term relationship ended was because our relationship started where I was in a different position in my career, where I had everything set out and everything was laid out, and I was working, all of these consistent, whatever jobs, but I was dead inside. And when I started to make the shift towards wanting to do something different, this kind of took him by surprise and was like, you're not the same person that you were when we started dating. And I'm like, but isn't that the point? Like, aren't we supposed to grow? Like, aren't we supposed to evolve and change? And so that, I would say, the end of our relationship really came down to me wanting to be the best version of myself and seeing the potential that I saw in him, but him not wanting to step up to his fullest potential. So, and I think today, in today's dating world and in today's society, we're all caught up with dating apps and how you can even, I will not, absolutely not, bottom line, period, will not. But I think it can be very, very hard to navigate. It can be very, very hard to navigate.
A good example for this would be, before getting into a dating phase, you constantly keep working on yourself. And that's why the person is a fan of you.
Yeah.
That's why you get into a relationship. But once you get into a relationship, if you're not working on yourself, there is no spark in you. Forget about the relationship. There is no spark in you, and that person might lose interest.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly keep growing, keep evolving, keep doing the same things that led you to a relationship. You can't just go back and sit and like, oh, now I have a girlfriend, I can just relax, I could just enjoy and do this. Nah, you have to look for the future.
I'm seeing a direct correlation between dating and job search.
It's true, eh?
Finding the right career and the right partner are literally parallel experiences, I think, in terms of how you approach it and how you communicate and how you put yourself out there. And the rejection and the ghosting, like there's so much overlap.
You could probably write a book,
I think I should. Yeah. Don't steal that idea. Anybody that's listening, it's my idea. Okay. That was very good. All of that came from what stressed you out today.
What stressed you out today.
Wow. Okay. Your turn to ask.
Who always puts you in a good mood?
My dog.
Oh, really? Can I?
She's not here. Well, I have two dogs, but, my dog Olive, so the Olive You podcast, Olive Branch Mentorship, my dog's name is Olive.
Oh, that's how the name originated.
Well, I mean, the original Olive source came from the very first job that I had when I was 14, was in a long-term care home with the elderly, and the first elderly woman that I ever lost, like whoever died at work, her name was Olive. And I had like an incredible friendship with her. She was like my favorite. You're not supposed to have favorites, but she was my favorite. And I would go and see her before every shift. I would say goodnight. My shift was 3 to 7. And right around 6:45, I would pop into her room and she would be puttering around her room with no teeth in, wearing her little nightie, getting ready for bed. So cute. And I would sit, with her for a few minutes every shift. And she was just such a sweetheart, just so sweet. And I remember one day leaving and then coming back for my shift a couple days later, and I went to go and check on her and her room was empty.
Shit.
Yeah. And I was only 14. And I remember being so sad because I thought, I don't remember what the last thing was that I said. I don't remember what our conversation was. Like, I don't.
Because you never knew this was going to happen.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It was very powerful for me. But I had a realization like later in life. And this has to do with, you know, working in the field of healthcare and being a compassionate empath, and, you know, empathy is at the core of who I am. I think something that I take away from that relationship with Olive is you don't remember what you said. You don't remember what you were wearing. You don't remember the context of anything, but you remember how that person made you feel.
Yeah. That is
and she
so
just,
important.
yeah. So 14. Oh my God, that's like 28 years ago that she made that impact. And at the time, at 14, I didn't know if I wanted kids or not, but I just remember thinking the name Olive, if I had kids, I would name my daughter Olive. And so later in my early 20s, I decided that I wasn't going to have kids. And so when my dad passed away, my dad unfortunately, sadly passed away from ALS.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
And like 2 months after he passed away, I was like, I'm going to get a dog. I was sad. I was depressed. Like, you know, going through that loss was hard for me. And I don't know why, but I was like, that was the first time in my life I was like, I need a dog. I have to get a dog. And her birthday, like my dog's birthday, is literally 2 days before my dad's death. Yeah. Ooh. So anyways, she's like my soul dog. And she's the reason why I get out of bed most days if it's hard, because you have to get up, you have to take that dog outside, you have to have a human experience with this creature. And she just turned 8, and I would say, so I got her when I was just turning 30, and she's changed my life in terms of having structure and something that's relies on me, and also like being a little bit introverted. Like if it was up to me, I would stay home and just live in my little bubble with my dogs, you know, but I think just having that relationship with a creature, it's very weird. I don't know. It's probably just part of my empath nature or whatever, but
I had a dog too back in India. Her name was Jenny, but she passed away due to some of the issues that she had with her skin. And then my family decided, like we were so close to her, but we then decided that we could never have a dog because we were staying in an apartment. A dog needs like a yard, backyard to play around, to do this thing. So probably someday when I'll get a house here in Canada.
All both of my dogs have only ever lived in apartments, but I'll say,
but like, your apartment is huge. It's huge.
It's not 600 square feet, that's for sure. And I'll also say, like, I make an intentional effort to take my dogs for hikes multiple times a week, and you know, getting outside in nature is very important to me too. So yeah, the original question was, who consistently makes you happy? And I would say, like, even in my personal life, my family life, my relationship history, like she's the most constant human being that I've ever had, including parents, like including, she's the most consistent being I've ever had. So that's a powerful thing for me. And I will be pardon my French, fucking disaster when she dies. Like it's gonna crush me. It's gonna crush me. It's gonna be like losing a child, I think. But that's just part of life, right? They don't live forever. And so I'm already like preparing myself for what it will be like to lose her. But she's very special. I'm sorry that you don't get to meet her, but she's
hope that day never comes.
Yeah, right. Well, they'll come out with a pill that just extends the dog's life forever and ever. But anyway, that I would say that's a no-brainer for me. Very much so. Awesome. Okay, so the last little segment that we have on the All of You podcast is the olive and the pit. Back to olive again. The olive is the best thing that happened to you this week. The best, like, so good.
Best thing, okay.
And then the pit is the pits, like, sucked. It was not good. So do you have an olive and or a pit to share?
I would say I would... It was on the professional line wherein as soon as I got into this job, I got a renewal of 90,000 USD with a company. Like we got a deal for 180K for 2 years with that company. And I was so happy that I got my first deal back. And the saddest thing of this week was I messed up a call. I messed up a call in a way that the questions that were thrown at me, I was not able to answer it effectively, and that's why we had to schedule a second call again, which I couldn't close in the first call, which I feel a bit bad. But then I learned from it. I know what I have to do, and probably tomorrow in the coffee culture at 9 o'clock, I'll be working on those things.
Batching your content for the week, reflecting. Yeah, that's
good.
Good.
And nailing it during my second call with them next week. So
I think that's just a very good indication and a very good representation of the type of person that you are, is that even though you had this blunder, this hiccup in your week, you're like, but I learned something from it. Like your immediate default is to say, yeah, this crappy thing happened, but I learned from it.
Learn from it.
I think people need to remember that, is like every crappy thing that happens is teaching you something. So as jaded and, as miserable sometimes as I am about like trying to find the silver lining, if you don't, then you get stuck in this rut of constantly just focusing on the negative. And it's so important to try to identify what it is you're learning from this. What are you taking away from this? What can you do to apply somewhere else?
And also, people think that like a lot of times people have told me that you're lucky, you've got things done. But to be very honest, I'm not lucky.
No.
I like when I say that during my down period of my life, I had 17 interviews lined up. 6 of them went to the final round, but no one talks about those 13 interviews which I couldn't crack, which is a huge number. 13 is greater than 6. So I sucked at it. And that's why 13 interviews, those 13 companies didn't take me. But that one company took me, and here I am today talking to you guys. But then I learned something along the way. And right now, at this stage too, like last year in November 2024, I gave 3 interviews in that company, and I was like not selected while being in that company. I'm like, imagine that. So I'm facing rejections and I'm facing failures every single day of my life, which probably like people don't know that, oh, this guy might be feeling failures too. But I do that, and that's what I'm here today. I mean, you have to constantly keep on going and learning from those mistakes, I would say.
It just goes back to my original comment about the LinkedIn content sometimes. Is it's like you see that I'm happy to announce that I've just started this job, and that I'm happy to announce I've completed this certificate. Okay, but what were the 17 failures or the 49 interviews that you took to get to that? I wish that there was like a feature on LinkedIn that was like, when you post that thing that you achieved, what was all of the things that you had to do to get to that achievement? Don't just show me the end goal. Show me everything that you did.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Who did you meet? How many conversations did you have to have? How many emails did you send before that thing happened? Because when we only see the end game, it creates a false perspective that person is lucky now all of a sudden, that opportunity just fell into their lap.
Yeah, people might feel that because then you're not posting the failures that you had along the way.
Yeah.
That's
just
right.
Like, look at this success that I had. It's like, okay, how did you get that? Like, it's great that you're successful, and I want to celebrate that for you, but I want to be successful too. And it's like, I think there's also a part of you that's like, I want to be happy for you, but I'm also jealous, or I'm also like, what do I have to do to make that dream a reality for me? And I think that's something that's missing on LinkedIn. And
once I talk to a particular, I choose my people very wisely, whom I want to talk to too. So I sometimes charge for my calls, which are like probably 30 minutes, I charge like $15. But then I want to make sure that the advice that I'm giving out there, I don't tell them like, if I were you, I would do this.
No.
I don't like to sugarcoat things. I tell it in a very, in a way that they would feel bad. But at the same time, they know that, oh, this person is, he's right there. He's talking to me on things. He's not caring. I'm not going to care. I'm going to say these things because that's how I have been taught. And I'm going to tell you those things. The second time we're going to meet, if I know that he hasn't done those things or she hasn't done those things,
then you're wasting my time.
You're wasting my time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk to you.
Time is our most precious commodity. And we were at a conference, some people from Olive Branch were at a conference last spring, and one of the girls met with somebody that identifies with mentorship, and the woman said something like, my brain is very expensive. My time is very expensive. My brain is very expensive. I'm only going to sit down with people that I see value in, and that there's evidence to show that they are appreciative of the time that I'm going to spend with them. And by showing appreciation means if they give you words of wisdom or advice or instructions on steps that you need to take and you don't take those steps, it's like, well, why am I even spending time with you? Because it's a waste.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? So I think if you identify somebody that you want as a mentor or somebody that you would like to have a 30-minute conversation with, make sure that you go into that interaction having done a little bit of research. Being very intentional in what you hope to gain from that conversation, and not saying that it should be transactional and like, what are you going to give to me and what am I going to get from you? Like, what you're getting from them is their time. And what you're getting from them is their perspective and their words of wisdom and their advice.
Right.
I think anyway.
Always be a giving, like I said, I like to give away my tips and tricks every single time. Like, I know that people can copy me, but people can never be me because.
And you want to know the wild thing is you could give out all of your tips and tricks. You could literally write all of your tips and tricks in one link. You got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. The difference between you and another person is that you actually execute the thing. There are so many people out there who sit behind their keyboard and they read all of these things, but they will not take the steps to do the things that they need to do to be successful.
And one of the things that helped me to be where I am today is also the LinkedIn is a very, very powerful tool for me. And I still remember me putting out content there. And one of the very big financial institutions, CIO, responded to my post that I made about that thing.
Wow.
And he was like, I would like to talk to more about this.
Wow.
I sent him like 68 emails during my course of 17 months. Never got a response from him, but he was watching me. He was connected to me on LinkedIn, and that's how I got the meeting booked. So people are watching you and people know that, okay, I need to talk to this person now because now it makes sense, because people are not going to meet you at your timeline. People are going to meet you at their timeline. Yeah.
Do you remember your first LinkedIn post that went like viral or that got a lot of views? Like,
I guess the post that I made about, I was at the airport with my family. My family came to drop me, and I made that post like after 2 years. Here I am today working with 4th largest software company of Canada, 6 figures, and then doing all these things. So that post was like probably 52,000 impressions, like 5 times of my connections right now. So that was one of the posts that went viral, and I had people reaching out to me, 600 comments on it. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That is one of the posts.
That's very good. That's a good achievement.
What was your post that went viral?
I've had a couple, not many. I certainly haven't had many, but the very first one that ever got about 60,000 impressions.
Whoa, okay.
Was the 9-minute interview phenomenon. So this girl that I've had within, I've been mentoring her and supporting her. I'd been sitting down with her and helping her prepare for this interview, and I thought, okay, the interview's at 2:00. I checked in with her. I was like, are you ready? Like, you've got this. It's in the bag, da, da, da. So I knew the interview started at 2:00, and she texted me at like 13 minutes after 2. And I was like, did the interview start yet? She's like, it's done. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like a 9-minute interview? She's like, yeah, I don't know. So I took a screenshot of that and I was like, what's up with the 9-minute interview phenomenon? Like, how can a recruiter or an interview panel of people even get to know someone in 9 minutes when that person who went for that interview probably spent hours
prepping for it,
hours preparing to go into this interview, and then that panel of people didn't have the decency to even give you a proper amount of time for you to be able to show yourself and express yourself and create rapport with them. I was so disappointed by that because I knew that she would be perfect for the job. And so that was my very first, because people were acknowledging like, yeah, this is a thing, and I'm like, this should not be a thing. Like, but I know, just being a hiring manager and having hired and been on 1 billion interview panels in my life. Now I think that HR departments are they're so confined to saying that they've done their due diligence in the recruitment process that they have to interview this many internationally trained professionals and this many women, and we have to interview at least 3 people externally so that we can justify that the internal candidate we want to hire is in fact the most qualified person for the role. So it's like they're just filling their calendar with these little interviews that aren't
just
even
for the sake of
just
doing
for the
it.
sake of putting it on paper that they did the thing that they're supposed to do based off of the checklist of whatever, when they already know the person that they're going to be hiring is that person.
It's a waste of time.
Right? And you're not only are they wasting their time, but they're wasting all of these candidates' time.
They're aiming for it, right?
And ruining their sense of self-worth and anyway, so yeah, that was the first one that went viral. And then more recently, when Justin Trudeau got kicked out of prime minister's seat, I took a screenshot of something of Justin Trudeau in Canadian Tire, like the day after he quit his job or whatever, left his job. And I was like, welcome to the unemployed club, Justin Trudeau. Can't wait to see your professional development journey. Have you upgraded your resume and your CV? You better get on it. I tagged him in it. And again, like 80,000 impressions or something.
Are you kidding me? 80,000?
Yeah, my impressions are up to like, in a 365-day period, my impressions are like 650K.
Oh, wow. I'm reaching around 1 million now, like over the past 1 year now. It's around 850, but my target is to reach 1 million impressions.
1 million impressions, yeah.
But you know what? After a certain point in time, you'll have a few companies, like, since I'm in sales, right? So I have a few companies reaching out to me saying that you tell the company, like the crowd out there, that you are using this and this tool, where they're not using it.
Right.
So they're small companies, obviously, I get that. But I think my main bread and butter is the company that I'm working for. LinkedIn is just 5% of it, of my 100%. So I'm not going to be ungrateful for the company that's providing me food to the table. So doing my work
you're getting
is important.
Sponsorships through LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Oh.
You get sponsorships through
what?
LinkedIn. Once your post starts going viral and once people know that they are resonating with the content out there, then they feel like, oh, this person.
This is new to LinkedIn.
Yeah.
This is it's a new type of influencer kind of. Interesting. That might be a goal of mine I need to put on my list of goals. Well, my friend, like I said before we started recording that you and I could probably talk for 49 hours, but people tend to check out around an hour and a half. And I think got some incredible soundbite reels from this episode. I think that
so too.
will explode on LinkedIn and maybe increase our impressions and follower count. By the way, when you tagged me in your most recent post about us doing a podcast together, my number of followers jumped like 200. I think I got 200 followers from your one post.
That's the
so this is another example of ways that you can bridge your professional development journey is align yourself with the right people. Just try to find your people and just, I don't know. I think everything has to do with our connections nowadays. A little bit to do with what you know, a little bit to do with your interpersonal communication style and whatnot, but more so than anything is your ability to connect with people.
And you know what I would say is people want to hear more stories. So,
storytelling is our most powerful skill. I'm telling you, it's the only thing that differentiates us from other mammals and species on the planet is our ability to tell stories.
And I've heard so many stories about you already through my connections. And when people are liking your post, I'm like, this lady has been doing so many things out there. I need to speak with this person. And that's what made me text you. And here we are today talking to you. So
yeah, it's been a slice. I really admire you. I think that you are a force to be reckoned with, and I think that you're going to do really great things in your career. You're so young. Oh my God. In 20 years, you're going to be running things. You're going to be doing great. Not that you're not already doing great, amazing things, but it's just going to keep exploding from here, I'm sure.
I guess that's what they keep saying, right? You are more capable of what you think you are. So always know your potential and keep increasing the bar every single day. So that's how I would like to end these things with. So thank you so much for having me.
Great way to wrap things up. Full circle. Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Really, honestly, genuinely from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your time. And thank you for your time. All of you. check back in with us every Tuesdays when our long form content gets put out on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and on the Olive Branch Mentor website. And we're going to be really going heavy on pushing out reels and short content across all social media platforms. So if you are not following Olive Branch Mentorship, if you are not, who isn't, but if you're not by some unusual circumstance not following Rahul, please go ahead and do that. You will not regret it. His content is solid and consistent, which is very important in the social media landscape. So thank you so much, everybody. See you next time.
See you next time, guys.
Now.
Bye-bye.